Let me ask you something real. Ever wondered why the more you care, the faster she pulls away? That's not bad luck. That's behavioral conditioning at play. And if you don't understand how female psychology works, you'll keep falling for the same pattern. She loses interest, and you chase harder. But there's a quiet tactic, a psychological game that flips that script. It turns cold silence into heat and female disinterest into quiet obsession. It's not manipulation, it's control. And it works, step by step, every single time. Most men never even notice it, but once you do, it's impossible to unsee. And more importantly, impossible not to use. Because if you don't get this right, you're not just losing her interest. You're handing over your masculine energy on a silver plate. If this message speaks to you, share it. Someone else out there is one insight away from waking up, just like you did. And today, we break it down, from how it starts to how you reclaim control without ever raising your voice. The psychological shift that triggers female obsession. It always starts the same. She seemed interested, until she wasn't. One day she's texting first, laughing at everything, liking your stories. Then suddenly she's cold, distant, unreachable. Most men panic at this point. They start typing longer texts, sending voice notes, double texting, thinking effort equals attraction. But here's the brutal truth. Women don't fall for effort. They fall for emotional control, for presence, for subtle authority. And the moment she senses you're chasing validation, you've already lost the game. So, what actually flips that power shift back in your favor? Here's where most men miss it. It's not about being a jerk, ghosting her, or pretending to not care. That's childish. The real shift happens when you tap into self-possession, when you radiate masculine polarity that says, I don't need you to feel whole. That's when the dynamic changes, because now you've stepped out of the validation trap. And she starts to wonder where your attention went, and why it feels so empty without it. Here's what no one tells you. Women obsess over what they don't fully understand. When you show up predictable, always available, always explaining yourself, you kill mystery. But when you lean into strategic silence, when your world doesn't revolve around her, something shifts. That scarcity you create, it plants a seed, a question she can't shake. Why is he so calm? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? That's when desire triggers start firing, and that's when the game really begins. Let me paint the picture. She pulls away. You do nothing. You don't explain. You don't plead. You let her space grow. And while she waits for you to flinch, you stay grounded. That's non-reactivity. It's not coldness. It's power. While she expects the usual meltdown, what she finds is silence, stoicism. Now you've broken the script. And in a world where most men break character the moment they feel tension, you just became unforgettable. Not because you tried, but because you didn't. The reason this works is simple. It plays directly into female psychology. When a woman senses she can't emotionally dominate you, she gets curious, then intrigued, then hooked. This isn't about playing hard to get. That's surface level. This is mental warfare done with elegance. You're not attacking. You're removing access. And in doing so, you become rare, scarce, and in a marketplace of men begging for attention, scarcity is seductive. You become the puzzle she has to solve. You see, most men confuse attention with attraction. They think the more present they are, the more loved they'll be. But attention without masculine energy behind it feels needy. Women are wired to test your frame. It's female testing at its finest. And if your internal world collapses under her silence, she knows you're not who you claim to be. She's not evil for doing this. It's just behavioral conditioning. And if you don't play this game with awareness, you'll keep losing women you could have had, easily. So how do you apply this? It starts by detachment, not as an act, but as a mindset. You must be willing to walk away at any moment, not out of anger, but out of inner mastery. Ask yourself, can I remain grounded, even if she doesn't text back? Can I stay in psychological frame when she pulls away emotionally? Because this is where obsession is born. Not through your effort, but through your stillness. She needs to feel your absence to recognize your value. Let's break down the moment her mind starts shifting. It's subtle. A delayed text, a missed reaction, a slower reply. You don't jump, you don't chase, you let it sit. That cold approach. It's not rudeness, it's clarity. You're no longer giving your energy as default. That's when she starts to notice the silence. She checks your status, she rereads the last thing you said, she looks for signs. And that's when attraction reversal kicks in. You're not the one reaching anymore. She is. But let's make something very clear. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you don't cling. There's a massive difference. You can love her and still walk away if respect is missing. That's respect dynamics. You're not cold, you're calibrated. The man who gets this right doesn't punish. He withdraws, quietly, no drama. just absence. And trust me, that absence creates more emotional chaos in her mind than 1,000 words ever could. Because now you're not just a man, you're a mystery. Ever seen a woman who once ignored a man suddenly become obsessed with him? It wasn't luck, it wasn't looks, it was psychological frame. He didn't explain himself, he didn't beg. He kept building his life, stayed centered in his self-possession, and let her notice the scarcity of that energy. That's the kind of energy women chase. Not noise, but presence. Not desperation, but direction. And when she feels she can't fully read you, she leans in. Hard. Because now you've become unpredictable. Let me give you a real example. There was a guy named Chris. Good guy. Smart. Too available. Every time she pulled away, he'd try harder. Dinners, flowers, messages. Nothing worked. Until one day, he stopped. Not in bitterness, in clarity. He focused on his body, his business, and left her be. Weeks passed. Then came the late night message. Hey, you've been quiet. And that was the shift. Chris had unknowingly triggered desire triggers through strategic silence and masculine polarity. She came back. But this time, he didn't beg. You see, the attention economy isn't just about likes and followers. It's about where your energy flows. Every time you chase, you're spending currency. When she's unsure if she still has your full focus, she starts questioning. And in that space of uncertainty, female psychology kicks in hard. She starts filling in the blanks. Did he meet someone? Is he bored of me? And suddenly, you're the one occupying her emotional space. Not through effort, but through the power of emotional control. Here's something most never learn. Obsession doesn't come from comfort. It comes from mental warfare, the kind that's invisible but deeply felt. You don't need to insult her, ghost her, or act tough. You just need to master non-reactivity. Let the storms come. Don't flinch. That silence you maintain, it speaks volumes. It creates a mirror, one where she starts reflecting on her actions. That's when regret seeps in. And if you've maintained your frame, she won't just reach out, she'll pursue. Let's make it practical. If she pulls back, do less. Cut your text length in half. Match her response time. Don't beat it. Limit your presence on social media. No indirect posts, no story games. Stay silent. Focus on your work, your health, your purpose. That's how you embody inner mastery. That's how you shift the dynamic without saying a word. When she notices that the sun doesn't rise and set around her anymore, she starts chasing the warmth she once took for granted. It's tempting to break this silence, to check in, to send a "just wanted to see how you're doing." Don't. That's a trap. And she's subconsciously waiting for you to fall into it. Stay grounded. Remind yourself, her silence is not a signal to perform. It's an invitation to hold the line. That's where boldness lives. That's how you lead with stoicism instead of emotion. Because the moment you show her your world shrinks without her, she'll know exactly how much power she holds. This game isn't about pretending, it's about positioning. The moment she realizes you're not playing by the same rules as other men, her entire mindset starts shifting. You're no longer one of many, you're the exception, the variable, the rare energy she doesn't quite understand, and therefore can't control. That's the core of masculine polarity. She feels it, she respects it. And in a world full of validation seekers, your detachment becomes the most attractive trait in the room. And here, a quick pause, because if you've made it this far, you're already different from most. You're not just consuming content, you're decoding the game. So do yourself a favor, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because every week, we're dropping insights like this, built to help men break free from the validation trap, master the psychological frame, and reclaim emotional control in a world that constantly tests it. Don't miss what's coming next. This is just the beginning. Now let's dig into what happens inside her mind during this phase. See, most men think women lose interest because of who they are. But in reality, it's often about how available they are. When you're always there, emotionally accessible, easily read, you become predictable, safe. And safety isn't always sexy. Scarcity creates emotional pull. It builds tension. And tension is the heartbeat of desire triggers. If she can't predict your next move, she can't stop thinking about you. That's not arrogance. That's design. Think about the most captivating characters in movies. Are they the loud ones? The ones chasing approval? Or are they the calm, measured, unreadable ones who walk into a room and don't need to speak to be noticed? That's the energy you're aiming for. That's subtle authority. It's not shown, it's felt. It's a type of presence that says, I'm enough with or without you. And once she feels that kind of energy, she'll either rise to meet it or obsess trying to reach it. Here's where most men fail. They try to negotiate attraction. They plead, they explain, they ask for another chance. But you don't negotiate desire. You trigger it. through presence, through self-possession, through mastering your emotional control. Every time you explain yourself, every time you over-communicate, you're shrinking your energy. Instead, say less. Let your behavior carry weight. Don't rush to fill silence. Sit in it. Because real power, the kind that shifts dynamics, lives in restraint, not reaction. Now, let's talk tests. She may post something provocative, delay her responses, mention other guys, not because she wants them, but because she's checking you. This is female testing in motion. She's not looking for words, she's studying your energy. If you react, she wins. If you remain grounded, you pass. These aren't games. These are unconscious checks for strength. And if you hold frame during these tests, you passively reinforce your status, not just in her eyes, but in your own identity. So how do you reinforce that psychological frame? It starts in your day-to-day. Wake up earlier. Train your body. Not for her, for you. Limit distractions. Say no more often. Lead your own schedule. These micro decisions shape macro impact. They feed your inner mastery. They make you a man whose silence holds weight, not because he's angry, but because he's focused. And women feel that. They sense when a man is driven by purpose, not emotions. And in that space, they chase differently. And don't underestimate how powerful your absence truly is. A 24-hour delay in reply. Skipping a weekend hangout. Saying, "Can't this time? I'm busy." These aren't tactics. They're reflections of a man with masculine energy. A man who doesn't rearrange his life just to keep a woman interested. That contrast alone between you and every man she's known creates impact. Because now, she's not trying to win your attention. She's trying to deserve it. And that rewires her behavior completely. This shift is powerful but fragile. One slip into neediness, one moment of chasing, and the balance can reset. That's why stoicism matters so much. It's your armor. Not against women, but against your own emotional impulses. The urge to text, the need for closure, the compulsion to explain. Breathe, observe, let the moment pass. Because every time you delay reaction, you increase impact. And in a world full of emotional chaos, the man who moves slow becomes the man she remembers. And just before we move into the final keys, a quick reality check. Most men will never hear this. They'll keep doing what feels right, chasing, explaining, reacting, because it feels like love. But obsession isn't created by explaining yourself. It's created through behavioral conditioning, through consistent restraint, through the energy of a man who doesn't flinch. So if this is opening your eyes, smash that like button now and subscribe. We're not just talking theory here. We're rebuilding your entire psychological frame, one move at a time. Now let's go deeper. Obsession is the result of contrast. You were warm, now you're distant. You were available, now you're focused. That emotional whiplash jolts her system. It breaks her loop of control. But don't confuse this with manipulation. The power shift only works if it's rooted in truth. You must genuinely value your time, your goals, your vision. If you fake detachment just to make her chase, she'll sense the lie. But if you're truly centered, that's when the attraction reversal holds power. This is the paradox. You become irresistible the moment you're okay walking away. That's the heart of detachment, and not indifference, but peace. You no longer need her reaction to define your worth. And when she feels that, she feels pulled. Because now you're not demanding her energy, you're inviting her into yours. That's subtle authority in motion. And she'll follow it. Not because she has to, but because it feels good to chase a man who doesn't need to be chased. Your silence, when rooted in clarity, becomes a mirror. Every moment you don't respond, she reflects. She replays old conversations, wonders what you're thinking, checks your page, starts craving what once felt constant. That's the power of the attention economy. In a world where everyone overshares, you withhold. Not to punish, to preserve. And that scarcity, it elevates your presence. She's not used to that, and that's what makes it unforgettable. Scarcity, done right, becomes your loudest move. And let's talk routines. Want to strengthen this energy? Create rituals. Wake up without your phone. Journal before replying. Hit the gym before checking messages. Spend the first hour of your day on you. That's how you build inner mastery. That's how you stop bleeding energy into people who haven't earned it. When your routine is solid, your non-reactivity becomes natural. You're not faking strength. You've cultivated it. And from that space, your every move or lack of move starts speaking volumes. And yes, she'll notice. Maybe not on day one, but over time, your new energy becomes undeniable. She'll sense the change, the calm, the direction, and she'll either rise to meet it or fall away. Either outcome is a win, because you're not building this for her, you're building it for you. That's self-possession. That's masculine energy. That's what separates boys chasing love from men who become the thing women crave. Stability, clarity, and strength without noise. And don't be surprised if, weeks later, you get that message. The casual, "Hey stranger," or "just thought about you." That's not coincidence. That's behavioral conditioning at work. You became scarce, you held your frame, and now she's looped back. But this time, you're not the same. You've seen the dynamic for what it is, a psychological game. And now that you know the rules, you're not playing to win her. You're playing to master you. And that's the game she'll never forget. Every time you break the script, you become unforgettable. Most men are living on autopilot, reacting, chasing, explaining. You, on the other hand, are now conscious. You've tasted what strategic silence feels like. You've seen the effect of non-reactivity. You've learned how respect dynamics emerge not from dominance, but from consistency. The more you integrate these shifts into your daily life, the more effortless your interactions become. You're no longer playing her game. You're creating your own, and she'll feel it, even in your silence. But remember, obsession isn't created by accident. It's curated through intention, through mental warfare that's silent, strategic, and rooted in stoicism. The way you look at her. The timing of your responses. The calm you carry in moments that used to shake you. These microsignals tell her everything. Not that you don't care, but that you care on your terms. And when a woman feels that depth, that quiet control, her instincts fire in ways she can't even explain. You'll know this shift has happened when her energy changes, when her texts start coming first, when she lingers in conversation, when she looks at you a little longer, trying to read what you're not saying. That's attraction reversal in real time. But by then, you're no longer attached to the outcome. You're leading from a place of inner mastery. That's when she realizes she's not just attracted, she's pulled. And not because of what you said, but because of who you became. And here's the part no one tells you. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Every interaction, every shift in energy, every test, it all becomes visible. You've crossed a threshold. One where masculine polarity becomes your default setting. And while most men are still asking, why did she lose interest? You're now the one she thinks about in silence. The one who didn't flinch, the one she can't replace. And this is just the beginning of what you're truly capable of. So now it's your move. Are you going to stay in the cycle, chasing, guessing, reacting? Or are you finally ready to flip the script and watch her chase you for once? What part of this hit the hardest? What shift are you going to make starting today? Drop it in the comments, even if it's just a one-liner. Write this: I lead with silence, not desperation. Let's see how many real ones are waking up right now. And listen, thank you. Really? If you stayed until the end, that says a lot about who you are and what you're becoming. You're not like most, and your journey is just starting. So if this video spoke to you, give it a like, share it with a brother who needs this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next move we drop might just be the one that changes your game completely.